guys, so we are back today for another Ride of Your Life podcast, and I am super excited and I'm a bit more comfortable as well, but I'm super excited to be here with my school friend, primary school friend, Daisy MAE, and I know there was a Tallulah in there at some point. Is there still a Tallulah in there?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Daisy MAE Tallulah. So we were in primary school together, and I've had some amazing people I've been in contact with about the podcast, and Daisy just popped up and she's riding, and I was just like, I need to have you on my podcast. Let's meet after like nearly 20 years. Well, not 20 years, about 15.
Yeah.
Let's not age me. But yeah, would you like to just explain who you are, what you do, what you ride?
Yeah, so hey, I'm Daisy, and I ride a BMW F700 GS. And yeah, I got in touch with Salia because I saw her come up on 2 Facebook groups that I was part of.
Jesus
and
Christ.
I know.
I was just everywhere, aren't I?
Right? And I was like, this is insane. And I know we'd had a couple of times where we'd had a chat a few years ago, but I think this is the first time we've probably seen each other, probably since 6th form.
I think it was the confidence thing, and then also like coming across you as you were in the same world as me, because I think, I don't know, when I moved to London I became kind of recluse in the sense that I was more selective over who I hung around with, what I did. But then I saw you riding, and I did say to like my business partner, I was like, a friend from primary school's riding, maybe we should do something. And it just so happened you're like, well, I'm free, let's do something. And I was just like, she has an adventure bike. I've never met anyone with an adventure bike, and it's gorgeous. It's massive. And I'm like, how do you even ride that? What even got you to choose an adventure bike?
Yeah, so I have always been kind of pulled towards the biking industry. Whenever I saw bikes, I would be kind of infatuated by them, but no one in my family rides. So it was never something that I got to be a part of when I was growing up. It was very much just kind of like the way you look at celebrities. You're just like, I know they exist, but I'm just not part of that. I can never go and actually like touch one and be involved.
It's like a hidden industry. I've always found that. So it's like such a, like, are you part of the clan to get in?
Yeah, it's like you have to know someone to be in the club, to be invited in.
Otherwise it's like a journey.
Yeah. Which is then where I got to, because then I started dating a guy who had a motorbike and his dad had a motorbike, and they then encouraged me to follow that passion. So they pointed me in the direction of BMW rider training, which was really close to where we lived. And so I did the week intensive course there and got the bike pretty soon after. So I passed my test in October and got the bike the following March as a birthday present. So for my 21st birthday.
That's a nice birthday present.
It was a very nice birthday present. Thanks, Dad.
What was your first bike?
It's the one that I'm riding.
Really?
Yeah.
That was your first bike?
Yeah, so because the reason that I got the 700 GS was because you could restrict it. So I started taking the license pretty much the year that it switched, where you couldn't automatically go up to the next, go from an A1 to an A2 license. And so, so I got that one because then I thought, as soon as I take the test again and can have the full license, then I can get it unrestricted.
I feel really like bizarre. I have been saying this all day because we've hung out a little bit, but it's like, this is Daisy from primary school. Like, wait, what is happening? I don't even know, I know we spoke briefly about how our actual journeys becoming bikers is quite different. So I came from the point of, I found it really tricky. I found it quite lonely because I was seeing somebody that was a biker, but then we had split before I'd done my CBT and everything. And I was really alone when I did my CBT.
Yeah.
But then you were just like, I breezed through it. So that was quite a...
Yeah, I had a great experience. You know, not that we're sponsored, but BMW rider training. They were.
I wouldn't mind being sponsored.
Yeah. They were absolutely lovely. Just really, really inclusive, a really friendly atmosphere. And I know, speaking to quite a few different women who ride, that they don't all feel that way. Yeah. So it was really lovely. I never felt like I shouldn't be there. So I literally 7 days, first 2 days of the CBT, and then you go on to do the 5 days of the full license.
That must be why. I think do you think that played heavily in how confident you are riding and what you do? Because you said you had a female instructor as well there. So I think, how was that experience? Like, is there anything you took away particularly from that experience?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing on the CBT, the instructors there were telling me that a lot of CBT places can be quite dodgy, and they try and cram as many people in, because legally I think you only need something like 2 hours road riding to be qualified, and it's not even like you take a test, it's just a pass-fail based on the instructor. Whereas this, you spent the weekend, so you were learning in a paddock at first, you know, you didn't go out onto the road I think until kind of halfway through the first day. So you'd already practiced loads of stuff inside a really nice, safe environment, like a car park essentially, but their own car park. And then we took it really nice and slowly. And then again, you did the second day kind of feeling a bit more confident. So that really helped, the way they did it. And I think that CBT training should be kind of more intense in that way, as in go on for a little bit longer, you know?
Yeah, because I feel it's easy apparently to a lot of people, or it's easy or you just don't pass, and it's all due to the person you have and the mood they're in, I feel. Yeah,
exactly.
So initially, like I've mentioned before, when I did my CBT, I was amongst a group of guys and they kept singling me out and telling me, oh, you know, you're going to fail if you get a geared bike, you do it on automatic. And I was insistent, like, I need to learn how I'm going to be riding as I'm going to be riding it on the road. When I leave here, I'm not going to get an automatic bike. I'm going to get a geared bike.
Yeah. I think that's ridiculous. They suggested that to you. You know, if you wanted an automatic bike, that's what you would have asked for.
Yeah.
So I think that was really silly.
Because it's also astonished me that you've gone for a adventure bike.
Yeah.
Because that's quite, like, I haven't heard of that so far. It's either girls on scooters or a super bike.
Yeah.
So an adventure bikes are kind of...
It's the one I learnt on. I learnt on the 650 GS. That's what they have as their training bike, and I just found it so comfortable. And actually I was deciding between either the Street Triple. I did really like the Ducati Monster, but I think it would have been a bit expensive anyway.
That's funny. That was my choice of bike.
Really?
Yeah, so I've been saying, like, harping on about a Monster, and I've heard that's a very good bike.
Yeah, so
start a bike.
I absolutely fell in love with the Monster when I went to the NEC bike show, the Birmingham bike show.
Yeah.
And you got to sit on all of these bikes, and I hadn't learnt yet, and I tried loads of different ones. I thought about the KTM Duke because my name's Daisy, so I would have been Daisy Duke on it, but I sat on it and it wasn't very comfortable. So then I went and sat on the Monster, and I was like, oh my God, this feels like heaven sitting on this bike.
And it's so light.
I know, so comfy. But I knew that I wanted to do touring. So that's why I went for the 700 over any of the naked bikes, because I wanted to be able to pile as much stuff on it and go for week-long camping trips. And that is what I've done with it. So yeah, I didn't really want it for nipping around a city. It was more for when summer comes along, I'm going to take the bike out and go for a really nice long ride.
So adventure-wise, what's your craziest adventure you've done on this bike?
So I have done 2 week-long tours, both with partners on the back of it. So the first one I did was round the Republic of Ireland with an ex of mine.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, and actually I feel bad for Andy, who's my current partner, but even though I broke up with my ex on that trip, it was still one of the best holidays I have ever been on. The freedom of being on that bike going around Ireland. Most of the time I forgot he was on the back, to be honest. But we took the ferry over from Wales and then just kept finding different campsites along the way and essentially did a big circle around.
Is it easy to plan something like that?
I mean, in Ireland it is, because, well, I mean, in Ireland they have their kind of version of the Route 66 along the end. Mm-hmm. So you don't really have to think about sat-nav along the way. And we just kind of picked different things that we liked the look of, and it was very easy to change a plan on the day.
Because I was saying it as well to you earlier, I really want to do like a tour, but I have no idea where to begin. I'm just looking at it like, okay, that's a road. Where do we stay? Where do we go? How many miles do I do in between? It's dissecting it piece by piece, but it seems like you've done quite a few and it comes to you quite naturally. I
guess it depends if you want to do camping or if you want to stay in a hotel. Because if you stay in a hotel, you are going to have to think about how far you're riding in between.
My bougie self over here.
Yeah.
I'm I'm like, I need a hotel. I can't do camping. We've done camping in primary school, and I'm telling you now, it put me off for the rest of my life.
Was that the only time you've camped?
Is it the only time? Yeah, I think so. It put me off so much that I just remember my clothes being damp. I remember it being cold and windy, and we had these pods that we stayed in.
Sounds like camping.
And we had to have the shower in that, like, do you remember the random...
Yeah, the little cubicles.
Down the hill.
Yeah.
And we ended up with, like, flashlights.
That is camping. Having to walk for your toilet and your shower is a camping trip.
I don't want to do it. I want a hotel. It's my business partner. He's like, have you ever camped? I was like, I've done it once. I'm not doing it again. I will ride my bike to a hotel. Perfectly capable of riding to a hotel.
Well, I would, as a bit of a practice, maybe go for a day ride and see how far you're comfortable riding in a day, and think about whether or not you want to get to a place in time for dinner, or if you're going to have dinner along the way and you're quite happy getting there later. Mm-hmm. They're the kind of things that you want to think about. So I would recommend, if you're planning a hotel-based trip, then I would plan them a little bit closer together, because you can always get to the hotel in time for booking, 2 p.m. or something, drop all of your kit off and then go for a really nice ride. Because we did that a couple of times, even with the camping.
We are doing this, right? You're going to take me step by step through this camping thing that you're glamifying up in my mind. You're like, Sally, you did it all wrong in primary school. Apparently, I've based a lot of my life on primary school at this point. So I'm like, no, definitely not touching another. Actually, no, I've camped once after. Okay. And I had to go to a hotel to use the facilities because, I don't know who I became. I don't know what Mariah Carey is sat over here. But I was like, just not doing that again. A really interesting question that popped into my head just now was, I wanted to know what you think riding's done for your personality, your outlook on life, because I know it's completely changed mine. So... I mean, you do seem like the Daisy that I hung around with in school, and I'm completely remembering why we were friends.
Yeah.
But I would love to know what you think how it's impacted your life and what value it's given you.
Yeah, so I love that question. I've never really thought about the impact it's had, but I don't know, it's quite easy. It's just, it made me experience the road in a different way. And I know that's so cliche, but when you're in a car, you've got the radio and there might be other people there and the seat's really comfy and you can turn the aircon on and all of that kind of stuff. Whereas when you're on a bike, you are just focused on that road. Like, I am not about putting headphones in. I've tried it and it's just uncomfortable. And if there's a song that comes on you don't like, you can't change it. It's just a lot of...
I have to vibe to this.
Yeah, it's just so much faff, all of that. So I am all about just being in my own headspace, and I think that's something that not a lot of people ever take the opportunity to do anymore. Mm-hmm. So I loved that I could spend an hour just being in my own head. I didn't have to get distracted by anything.
It was interesting for me. So as I said, I was in a relationship when I was learning to ride initially, and we were having quite a lot of issues in the relationship. Whenever we got on the bike, though, we felt united, number one. And number two, I'd stopped thinking about everything. Yeah. All my problems stopped because I had to think of the road. Even when you're pillion, you have to think of what's present in front of you, the dangers. You have to move with the rider to make sure that if he's going around a bend, you're not leaning the opposite way. Yeah. And that's why I fell in love with biking. Apparently, my father was a biker. God knows how far that got him. But and my uncle is a biker, so he has a Suzuki Gixxer from what I've seen. Mm-hmm. But I never thought it would be me riding up until I got those experiences and got constant exposure to bikes. And I was like, maybe this is the universe just guiding me into
it's a sign.
What makes me happy. And the desire for a bike completely took control of every other issue. It's kind of like a goalpost.
Yeah, it's really weird, isn't it? Once you get your mind set on it, it is. It's like, that's what I need.
It's not cheap.
No. No. I mean, once you've got all of the gear, that is a costly investment.
The gear is the one that burns the pockets.
Yeah. But I bought my gear initially, I bought textiles instead of leathers, and because I wanted something that would suit kind of all weather riding. Mm-hmm. So I went for textiles and obviously the helmet, the boots and the gloves. And since then, all of that has kept me until, I mean, I bought another jacket the other day, but only because I wanted one that was all black instead of one that was black and white. I didn't really need a new jacket.
Just started to get fussy suddenly.
Yeah.
I think that's my diva. She got in contact with me and you're like, that's what I need going forward.
I know. Well, if photos are going to be taken.
If Sally is my friend, I need everything to match.
Exactly.
No, it's just like, how did you even decide what gear to get? Because I'm lucky I found someone that's in the biking world for me, and that significantly helped direct me, because honestly I was lost. I went on purely what looks nice and what felt light, which wasn't the best solution, until he put me in my Dainese jacket, and when he put it on me the first time, leather, and everything just feels so heavy and stuck, and I couldn't move, I couldn't feel anything, and I was like, I hate this, I just want to unzip it. He's like, no, zip it all the way up. Zip it all the way up. And I was just like, I don't want to wear this. I don't want to wear this. But when you break it in, it's much more comfortable. But the safety levels of what you choose. So obviously I have a leather jacket.
Yeah.
But how did you learn about your equipment? The equipment, yeah?
Yeah.
Equipment's the right word. How did you learn about your
gear?
And know what to buy? Because I find that men, when they go into the biking world, there's so much choice.
So much.
For women, it's very limiting. I've just learned about these Oxford jeggings that everybody has that I absolutely need. I've seen them on you.
100%.
I need these. They're so flattering.
Yeah.
Because also that's another thing. All jackets of women's are quite short.
Yeah. Why is that?
I don't know.
That's why I really like my Dainese, because it's longer.
They have the pink swirls on everything.
Leave the pink out of it.
There's this dark corner in the corner of every bike shop, and that is where the women's stuff is. And I said to my partner when we were buying my gloves and my gear, I said, what's the difference? And he'd never ever paid attention to it. And I said, look how the defining factor is mine's pink with pink neon pink swirls, and your stuff has like grey, black, this. I was like, I'm getting men's gear, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I think you could easily get men's gear.
Yeah.
I don't think our bodies really are that different anyway.
No.
But
it's the chest. I do find the chest and the rise, the men's stuff tends to cover better.
Yeah.
But the chest does, and the shoulders tend to be very different, because that's what I struggle with. My first leather bike jacket, the shoulders are massive, and it's a men's jacket. And it hurts because my shoulders are rattling around.
Okay, yeah.
But I don't know how you managed, and were you guided through that process?
Yeah, so so again, the partner that I was with and his dad, they took me to a shop called Hideout, and it's called Hideout Leathers, and it's female owned.
And you left with textile.
I did leave with textiles, but it is called Hideout Leathers. And actually the woman who owns it, she ended up designing and making, I think, pretty much all of the gear, probably with help, but all of the gear for one of the Fast and Furious movies. You know, the one where they introduced all of the bikers?
Wow.
I can't remember, 6, 7, 8, however many of them there are, 20.
That's quite a connection.
Yeah, really cool.
Bloody
But
hell.
it was, she did mine before she got to that stage. Like, I didn't go there because of that.
Oh, right, okay.
I went there. It was one that was close to me, and they recommended it, and she was really great. So I tried on the jacket and the trousers, but she took the trousers in because
they were tailored.
Yeah, because I'm quite a big booty lady, so I really needed like a smaller waist, but the trousers to be a bit bigger. So she did that, and she helped me essentially. They kind of took me to the place and were like, "This place is really nice." She gave us our gear, and then when I went in, she helped me a lot with it. So
I'm gonna have to go there.
I would recommend it
when I pop to Cambridge again.
Yeah. She was fabulous.
Because that sounds like more of it's few and far between in the industry, isn't it? That you either get solid gear that's amazing, that fits perfectly, like the jeggings. Sorry, I cut out there for a second. Or you get gear that you're just like, why am I wearing this?
Yeah, I know.
And I just look like a fridge on a bike.
Yeah.
Because there's no shape. I feel awful. I feel really uncomfortable, but I'm safe. And it is a lifestyle. I mean, I still ride my bike, wear my makeup, do whatever I need to do, but I do want to feel nice when I'm riding it. So I mean, it's an industry expansion option. I do believe there's a lot of space for expansion.
Definitely. Oh, female clothes really do need to, female rider gear.
Really need help. There is, I mean, Dionysia I've noticed has the biggest range I'm aware of. Oxford's not, like, I think they're pretty similar in that as well.
Yeah.
There are some brands that, I mean, my partner loves Alpine Stars.
Yeah.
But he can't find, we went and he was just like, there's not a lot for women.
No.
They released a Diesel and Alpine Stars collab recently, and I was looking at that, and they had a really nice men's leather jacket, and they didn't have a leather jacket for women, and I was just like,
if you're doing it for men, why? How difficult is
a leather
it?
jacket, because I really like that range, and I told my partner, I was like, I'd really invest in that jacket, but they didn't release it, and I was just like,
maybe we should go there. I mean, I don't wear leather.
Just go anywhere. Just go, please give us a jacket.
Go to Alpine Stars, knock on their door and be like, just fit one to my shape, please.
Yeah, because I do find chest is one. It feels always very stuck, like I can't breathe. Or, like I said, the rise around the back, which I really hate.
Yeah, but in terms of choosing gear, I think you have to think about what you want on the bike or whilst you're riding and where you're going to be riding. You know, if you really like riding in the sun and that's where you're going to do most of it, fair weather rider, then you don't have to worry so much about what gear you're going for. But if you do want to either take it off-road, want to do some trail riding, or if you want to take it on longer trips where you know there's a chance you're going to get wet, then I think you just need to think a bit more carefully about it. But my textile trousers are the comfiest trousers to ride in. They just are quite bulky, which is why I didn't wear them today.
Do you wear overalls, like the ones over the top of jeans, or do you have the just ones that you wear on their own?
I wear them over top of leggings, so I usually put some like thermal leggings on underneath too if it's really cold. And then
judging by your road trips, I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
travelled the whole of the UK, every nook and cranny. Daisy has been there.
Well, Scotland is next, so I really like your idea of going up the top.
I'm so excited.
On the list.
Okay, I have this fascination with Lord of the Rings. Really weird fun fact. But I found out that some of it was shot in the UK and I need to go. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm going to ride everywhere. Initially, I wanted to do Land's End to John O'Groats on a push bike.
Wow. Ambitious.
I still want to do that. But, you know, motorbikes all that easier. So I was like, I'll just do that and get to see the same sights. But I love the adventure side of it. But I do love the aesthetic and the va-va-vroom of a superbike. So I suppose I'm torn between the two.
You could just get someone to follow you behind in a car with all of your stuff.
just poor Shaz with his van of all my makeup and my goodies, and I just pretend I look really cool. I don't need anything on the road. It's fine. I'm just super cool. I'm super chill.
Exactly.
That mysterious girl that always looks like nice and semi-decent, and then you don't realise like there's a van and a convoy of like all her equipment behind. Yeah,
it's like Bear Grylls when he would go on his camping trips and then you found out that he went and stayed in a hotel once.
I ate this ant. That's all I ate for dinner.
Yeah, and then someone gave you a whole bottle of water or like a whole meal behind it.
I don't need any help. Independent woman. And then I just have a convoy of men helping me.
So have you been to Scotland before?
I went to Edinburgh 2 years ago. Loved it.
So you haven't been to any of that mountainous part of it?
So Skye sounds like a dream. I know that you met your partner there. How is it being the rider in a relationship? So that was an interesting one because I didn't ask that earlier deliberately because I wanted to know when we talked.
Yeah, well, that was one of the things on the 2 trips that I've done where either you would get it where we'd both get off and people would be surprised that I was the one at the front, or if they hadn't seen us on the bike, then people would come over and start asking them questions about it and not me. So that was always quite strange. But also it did make me feel quite confident because you get to say, actually, sorry, that's my bike. So that was always quite...
What are their faces like when you say that?
Yeah, just very like, oh, you know, very different faces.
Do your partners find it hard, or have your partners ever found it hard, you being... Because it's considered quite a leading topic. So there is like this faux pas, like, I mean, I don't know how to phrase it. If it's expected the male to ride.
Yeah.
If the female rides and the male doesn't, it's considered that it's emasculating in some people's eyes.
Yeah, so I don't think that I would ever be with someone whose ego could be damaged that easily.
Mini clap in the corner.
Yeah.
Shots fired.
So Andy, yeah, he could not care less what other people think about his masculinity.
Love that.
But he does want to ride, and I think being in the presence of my bike and me riding has made him want to do it more, and he really loved going around Wales, and we want to do more trips, but it's not the easiest thing having a pillion and all of the gear for a whole journey. Like, it would be quite nice to share that out.
Like buckaroo on the bike.
Yeah. It's a lot every time you have to stop. But I love it. I would happily do it again. But he does want his own. But he wants more of a scrambler type bike, you know.
Oh.
Yeah, one of those kind of cafe racer.
What's drawn him to that?
I think it's his military background, kind of going for that dark green, you know,
I'm
very old school
life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would you ever do so are you drawn to anything other than your adventure bike at all?
I mean, eventually I think I'll have one in pretty much everything, although potentially not Harley.
That's the goal.
That is the goal.
Why not Harley?
I don't know. It just seems like a vibe that isn't me.
The big chopper with the high up handlebars and the lean back.
I'd love to ride one. Love to just have a go on one, but I hear that corners are difficult.
I've sat on a Harley and turned it on, and literally he was like, ride it, and I was like, I don't know how to have my arms that high up and maneuver. Like, I was so confused because it was like a chopper one where the handlebars were so high, and I was like, how? Like, my leg, because also it's such a lent back posture.
Also, are your feet in front of you?
Yeah.
That's
so
weird.
it just kind of felt like I was like a parachute. Like I was like parachuting my body, and I felt super weird.
Yeah.
Because my arms weren't that long, and then I would have wanted to have sat forward if I wanted to do that, but my legs needed to be back, and I couldn't quite understand my posture for it.
Yeah. So for me, riding is about me and my journey on the bike and how I feel on the bike, not about how other people perceive me on it.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I'm sort of not that fussed about a Harley. I want one that feels really nice. And I know that super bikes look amazing, but they also feel amazing. Yes. So I'm definitely drawn to that side of it as well, because it does have that vibe. I feel like Harley, it's uncomfortable, but you have one. Well, some people would probably disagree with me, and they love their Harley, and I love that, you know, each to their own. But maybe... yeah, I think definitely a sporty bike next, potentially a naked bike as well.
Fashionably, I love the idea of a Harley, but I think I need to ride one to suss it out for myself.
Yeah.
I like, it's strangely enough, when I'm on a super bike, the posture's quite compact and I feel safer. It's strange. It's almost like the inverse of a fetal position for me. Like I'm everything's more compact. I feel like I'm ready. Yeah. Whereas when I'm more splayed out and open, I feel quite exposed and just not quite as safe. I'm not sure. Maybe that's because I haven't been riding that long.
Well, you don't have that much control. I think when you have your elbows by your side and your arms kind of fixed in that 90-degree angle. I know it is more out with a bike, but that is your kind of most controlling position, where you can use your core as well. And I think on a Harley, you kind of lose all of your core.
Yeah.
you know, you lose all of those muscles and you're pretty much just using your arms.
I just felt like I suppose I like being very compact.
Yeah.
And when I'm on a superbike, I'm just like all squished up and tense, especially when I started. I'm just like, I have control.
Yeah. And being comfort is key. Like, being comfortable on a bike is absolute key.
I never thought about an adventure bike until I actually saw your and the colour of your bike, and I was just like, I'm in.
Yeah. I would highly recommend them.
What's your favourite thing about an adventure bike?
I think it's how comfortable it is, and the fact that I can take it anywhere. The other day I met up with someone and they showed me the Trans-Euro Trail, which is kind of endless. He remembers the amount of kilometres, whatever it is, but there are endless different back roads and trail roads around both the UK, but a lot of them are in Europe. And it was amazing. It was the first time I'd actually taken my off-road bike off-road. So,
Really?
yeah. And it was so invigorating, riding through the
defender
puddles.
of bikes.
Oh, it was amazing. The
I
whole
always
vibe.
laugh because everyone sees me as quite reckless. So I imagine if I was to, like, people, like, if you were to get a big car, it would be like a Defender or something. So I'll be just like rocking around over cars, like a monster truck vibes. And I see that as like the adventure bike. It's just Daisy's just mowing everything over.
Yeah,
like, we just need to get there.
Well, we were talking about that earlier. We were planning.
I can ride over that. That's fine. I was like, can you mount this? Yeah, it's absolutely
Get over
fine.
it. Gravel, who cares? The bike will do
Pigeons
anything.
move.
Exactly. So I would. And it is so lovely to ride in terms of the posture that you're in is really lovely. And yeah,
Do you
just love it.
find that the type of bike is an indication on the type of personality type you have?
Oh, I don't know. I guess I do like that adventure in life. You know, I am a very adventurous person. I do scuba diving and mountaineering and
You've got
sailing.
that quite, even having known you as long as I had known you, you were always quite free-spirited.
Yeah.
I would say I'm a bit more showy. And I kind of went, not showy helmets, but as in like showy offy.
Yeah.
And I kind of went for that super bike, you know, sleek, structured look.
And it does have that power when you're sitting on it. It makes you feel that incredible.
It's like a stallion in my head.
Yeah.
But then I don't know if that was a play on my personality, because I was kind of trying to suss that out. Most people I've ever met with a Harley have been very laid back. And very chill.
Very laid back position.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
And then adventure bike, then there's you. I mean, I haven't met many adventure bike people, but you're very chilled out, but no boundaries. Like, oh, I'll ride over that.
Yeah.
That's fine. Mountain, fine. Everest, cool. Up there, done it, been there. And I'm there like bikes, roads, journeys, this, that, this
Going
event,
fast.
this event, speed.
Yeah.
What am I wearing? And I don't know, do you think that, because it's quite interesting, the personalities, you're free-spirited, vegan, healthy lifestyle, adventure, you know, getting most out of your life, even living where you live in Portsmouth. And then there's me, inner city, roads. Like,
you could do that as one of those memes on Facebook. What type of bike are you?
Well, I've seen quite a few. So I know we're on quite a few bike pages together. That's why how we actually, you're like, you're on here too?
Yeah.
It's like, yes, I am. Because I just joined every bike page.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of memes that pop up on them. Like, oh, when you, type of bikers, tourers, and all of these. And the superbike's always known as the one that's like the womanizer, the this, the that of the bikes. And I wondered if there was any truth to that in your opinion.
Yeah, I think so. I think that you choose a bike that suits what you want to do, and that ultimately stems from your personality.
So I don't even know what I want to do. I always thought biking for me is quite personal.
Yeah.
But I loved so I've always said I don't think I'm materialistic, but I like what I like. And I don't know if I'm practical. So
yeah,
I'm the type of person that's like, no, these shoes aren't nice. And then I climbed a mountain in Lacoste shoes and my back of my feet were like bleeding. But I was like, but they're good for shots. So
but they look nice in a photo.
I can't believe I did that. 1,800 meters in Lacoste pumps.
That's insane.
God, that was in Bali, and it was hilarious because I've got this picture of like my bloody foot, and I was just like posing in the pictures, like absolutely no pain. And then I was like, Shaz, I need to lean on you down this mountain. I can't move. But I think that's like what I'm like with even my bike. I really want my gear to protect me. I'm terrified of anything going awry and not being prepared for it. Yeah. But then I don't know if I'm a diva, and that plays into what I've chosen and where I'm going with my bike.
I think so. I think it's a super bike kind of reflects the fast lifestyle of when I change my mind, I can get there quickly. And I think
I don't know many women in super bikes, but the ones I have met, I have to say they're not materialistic. They're not very showy, but they're very, it's an odd glamorous. It's a different kind of glamour. It's a very powerful image. Women bikers, I find. Yeah. There's an independence to it that you just think they don't need a man, but then when they have a man, you respect them all that much more as well for how they conduct themselves around that lifestyle. Do you feel, I mean, I know from my experiences in some of the groups, but do you feel there's a lot of sexism in the bike world, or what's your experience been? Because you've been riding how many years now?
6.5 years now.
Blimey.
Yeah, quite a while. I didn't find any sexism to begin with, but I think that's because I wasn't part of many external biker groups. You know, I had a couple of friends who rode, although they were all boys. But as I've increased the amount of riding that I'm doing and meeting more bikers and being part of more biker communities, you know, biker cafes, there I definitely have noticed a lot of sexism, homophobia, and yeah, the community definitely needs to become more inclusive. So that's kind of what I want to do, is make the community feel more inclusive so people feel welcome.
Yeah, because you're starting on a little YouTube business journey. Which is
the
quite
plug in
exciting. But I also know, because it's quite interesting how our paths, we're feeling the same need in the same industry, and albeit I'm a lot newer to this industry, I felt the lostness of and the not openness quite a lot. I don't know if that's because I'm in London as well, because there's a lot of groups. Are you part of any groups?
No. I have a group down south that we go riding sometimes, but we're not named, not anything like that. The
nameless crew.
Yeah. And we don't act like a crew, you know, we go kind of separately and people are welcome at any time. It's basically just
friends.
Yeah, it's just a group of female riders who live down south in the same area.
Because I found there was a lot of politics around that, like, who are you riding with? Make sure you don't ride with those people. Be careful of these people. And I was just like, I just want to ride my bike with people I trust.
Yeah, you see, that's what I find. I don't find like I've ever been excluded from the biker community. People have always accepted the image of me as a biker, but it's my opinions that seem to be very strange to the biker community.
What do you mean by that?
Like being vegan, or I've had conversations with people and then it's gone very transphobic and I'm like, well, I'm not comfortable having this conversation. Or someone's drinking a can of Pink Monster and then he's called gay, and it's just, that is very uncomfortable for me. Or to meet some bikers, you know, I met some Hells Angels the other day because I just parked next to them at a biker cafe and we got chatting and I was joking, saying that I was going to join the club. I didn't actually want to, and found out that women aren't allowed to. So it's, you know, it's just kind of old white men, and it's not that I have anything against them. I just want it to be a more accepting place for everyone.
You said something earlier which was really interesting, which was, you said, it's not that I feel like I'm excluded, but I don't feel like I'm welcomed.
Yeah.
And I think that hit the nail on the head. No one's ever pushing you away, but they do, like, have a massive question mark above their heads. Like, if this was a game, there'd be that symbol that comes up in that sound. It's like, like, what's happening?
Yeah. And I feel like I have to prove myself. Did you find that whenever you rode into a biker cafe?
And on top of that, when I do feel I have to prove myself, I always stall.
Yes.
I guarantee you I will stall. Like, if I have to, like, if someone's road raging behind me and I feel like I have to, I'm a girl on a bike, I've got my eyeliner on, I'm going to make a point.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you know, stalled, great. And they're like driving past you and I'm just like, it's fine, breathe, just breathe.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
But to a lot of women that I know, just you talking about your eyeliner there, the image of being a female on the bike is something that's really important to them. So, and it's really important to me as well. So if I have my hair in a plait, when I put my jacket on, it gets caught underneath, and I always make sure that it's out, because that long hair for me is representing the fact that I am a female rider, and I want people to know that. And there are some other girls I know who have quite short hair, and they have not that I would want this on my helmet, but they have those things that you stick on the helmet and it's a big plait going down the back.
Right,
and she said that's really important to her so that people know she is a woman on that bike.
Yeah.
And it's not so that they treat her any differently, but that's a big part of her identity.
It's normalising it. So there's a massive degree of just normalising men or women on a bike. And they don't even have to say anything, but that shock of, oh, you're on a bike is just enough to piss you off, really.
Yeah.
And just feel like, why not just accept me for what I am?
Yeah.
And I mean, the degree of misogynistic comments and things I've seen on other people's platforms. My friend, she received one the other day, which was, oh, it's so funny. I've been riding 22 years, but you just have to be a female on a bike. And now, you know, you'll get all the followers and sponsors. And it's like, okay, first we have to normalize that women can ride whatever they want to ride.
Yeah.
Secondly, you don't have to make things easier for us to ride. You can make things more comfortable. You can accommodate our clothing more because we do have different body shapes.
Yeah.
But you don't have to make it seem that you're changing an industry to allow us in.
No.
You just have to expand the industry and accept that we already exist.
Yeah. I don't know why the biking community feels, a lot of the biking community, you know, it is important to recognise that it's not all of them, but a large part of it and the general vibe that you get from it, it's as if they don't want it to grow. It's as if they only want it to be themselves. And that seems really strange to me, because when I find something that I love, I want loads of other people to experience it as well.
I struggled because a lot of the beginning of when I started riding was based on opinions of people, which was strange because when I was researching or when I was seeing, I'd read comments and I'd do that. And I learned quickly the faux pas of biking, but I learned from a lot of men on comments. And like you were saying, I want my hair down. I want people to see my hair.
Yeah.
I deliberately won't ride with my hair out because I always feel that people are judging me.
Oh, wow.
They're like, oh, because I tie it up a lot for in plaits and stuff. Maybe when I shoot, I let it out. But the comments I got were, oh, her hair's going to be a bird's nest at the end of that. And I was like, when I was on the bike, always, I've never had a problem. But it's just all these people's opinions. And I think I need to strengthen that bone of getting rid of people's opinions.
Yeah.
But it affected me massively because I didn't come from a group of people that were bikers. I'm the first one ever in my family to cross that line. There's not many Muslim girls that do this anyway.
Yeah.
Not many brown girls that do it anyway.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't want to be seen as an idiot on a bike. I don't want to be seen as somebody that doesn't know what she's doing and is going to get herself killed.
Yeah.
I don't want all that, because I believe in energy. I didn't want all that focus and energy on me.
Yeah.
Where people would, like, in my pictures, I do a lot of fashion-based stuff because I do want to encourage fashion still, because I come from that background. And I just learned I had to stop. I think I overthink the situation so much to try and minimize the amount of stupid comments I get, because there's a picture of me turning and I have my helmet on. I think it was on one of the girl groups we were in, but there was a mixed group. And I was putting the helmet on. They were like, you do know you have to face the other way on the bike. And a lot of the women I found were even backing up the men.
Yeah.
And I found that even harder. There was a comment that was like, just a question from a guy with no hair. No offense to people with no hair, but he had no hair. He doesn't wear makeup. He was a bloke, typical bloke. And he was like, just a question. Do you wear makeup every time you go out on a bike? And I was like, what is it to you?
How is that relevant?
What is it to you?
Yeah.
And there's this amazing comment from this woman. She was like, every time, wouldn't leave my house without it. It's like, I love you.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't have the confidence to hit back at that.
But that's because often when you hit back at those comments, you feel very alone.
Yeah.
Because you feel like if you make one comment, people are going to make loads more comments back at you.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember. I definitely made a comment on one and then a few men commented underneath it.
It's like they gang up. And
yeah,
they're
do.
prepared to rip you down. Another guy was, oh, do you even know where the gears are? And I was just like, I wrote, how is a picture of me with a helmet got anything to do with my ability to ride? Why are the two, like, why is it so affecting you?
Yeah, and how exclusive is that as well?
Yeah.
How horrible to make someone else feel like they can't do something. Like you said, based on a picture. You know, he doesn't know you at all. But that could have been a make or break situation for you. If you didn't know anyone else who was a rider, that could have been the final comment that tipped you over the edge and stopped you ever wanting to ride again. And that's really horrible.
I don't understand why it's such a triggering topic.
Yes.
Men on bikes... Not all men, I will disclose that, but I mean, I've got a great partner. My best friends knows how to ride. Like, they're amazing men, and I've surrounded myself with some great men that accept me for what I have and what power I hold. But also, they accept me as I am as a woman, and what nurturing things and abilities I have in that dynamic. But they're like, can you pop a wheelie? Can you do this? Can you do that? A lot of men are like, oh, but you don't know how to do this. And it's like, maybe I don't want to. Maybe I just want to ride my bike.
Just want to ride the way I want to ride.
Yeah. Why does it affect you? There was a comment I saw, it really pissed me off on a friend again. I said to her, I don't know how she manages, because she's quite a big platform. And the guy was like, oh, I've seen you. To be honest, you look like you have all gear, no idea. And I was like, to be honest, I do want all the gear in case something happens.
Yeah.
And I'm prepared for it. What is my 2 minutes of you seeing me ride got to do with anything?
Yeah. I find that with the biker community in terms of all the gear, no idea as well, that you have to know everything for them to accept you as a female rider. You have to know how to fix every single part of your bike and
the technicalities.
Yeah, to be able to all of that. And actually, that's not just what riding is about. You know, if a lot of people love that side of riding, and I think when you really get into it as a hobby, then yes, you do end up learning how to clean parts of your bike. But there are also people who can do that. So actually, if you just want to ride and that's all you want to do, then really hate is going to hate, and you should just ignore the people who are trying to tell you otherwise and trying to make it this, you know, to consume your life. I have other things to do. I don't always have time to watch a YouTube video and ask other people and buy the tools to fix a specific part of my bike when I know I can just drop it off and someone else can do it perfectly and nothing can go wrong. What's wrong with that?
That was actually a really funny conversation I had, because my partner made me dissect his Aprilia with him. And he was cleaning servicing it and cleaning all the parts to it and everything like that. And he kept me really far away from all the major stuff he was doing. I was cleaning panels thinking I had the most important job. But I said to him, so how much does it cost to like service this? And he was like, I don't know, like 60, 90 pounds, something like that. And I then said, we spent the whole day doing this and you've got a few more days to do. And I was like, to be honest, I'll just pay the money.
Just pay the money.
And he was like, no, I like to know what I'm doing. And I was like, okay, it's good to know that I know what to do, but it's good to also have the choice to be like, you know what, would you MOT your own car always? No.
Right. Exactly. That's what I always think.
If you've got the time and you're passionate about it and you want to, and he's very passionate. He does track days and everything like that, which is amazing. And I would love to learn track and experience all these things, but am I going to take them on as careers? And I don't know. I need to experience it and see what I like. I'll gain knowledge, I think, as I go along, but allow me the space to want to learn.
That's the thing. It's expected that right from the beginning, you know how to do all of that with your bike, or that anytime something goes wrong, you have to make that time to learn. And that's not me. I would also really love to learn how to deal with all of that stuff on my bike, especially when I start going on tours that are maybe further away from home or further away. You know, if I go around the UK, I know there's going to be someone who can come and get me if anything goes wrong. And I do want to learn, but, you know, I'm 6.5 years in and I still don't really know how to do that. And people say I need to tighten my chain. And I'm like, can you not just do that for me?
Can you show me?
Because I don't.
What's happening?
Oh, I just have other things I need to do in life.
I don't know, I think this is a reason why I set up the platform to do the podcast anyway, was to kind of get rid of that shame of I don't know everything and the perfectionism. I know that you were saying to me that, I always tell people not to be a perfectionist, but I am not heeding my own advice at all, because I won't release anything until it's like spick and span perfect. I don't like people seeing my mistakes. I don't like people seeing L plates. I don't like people seeing, because I feel very judged on what the images I put out there compared to who I am. And sometimes you need to just let go of that perfectionism, and we need to be given the space to allow that perfectionism to go. Yeah. With age, definitely, as I've got older in my 20s, I've been able to be like, okay, I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect at that. I'm learning. I fell off. I did this. Fine. Sod it. Who cares? But when you're younger, or when you're alone, if you're a female alone in this industry, I can't speak for everyone, but I can definitely speak for myself and a few people I've spoken to. Men either take credit for who you become, or they criticize every flaw. There'll be a picture of you with your arms out, and they're like, "Are you gonna ride like that?" And you're like,
"So what if I am? There are tons of male riders that I've seen with their arms out, exactly."
But with women, it's
wearing
like
trainers.
It's there's a fine line between women. They either are considered the butch woman, or the no gear, no idea, on a bike, gonna die chick, but she looks good.
Yeah.
And it's finding where you fit in an industry that's just so, the perfectionism such a thing.
Yeah, I think that's really important to ditch for all parts of life, but definitely motorcycling as well. It is not about looking perfect on a bike, because again, a lot of the female riders that we see in photos or in media, they're portrayed as a kind of a sexy object, aren't they? Mm-hmm. And so it's this idea that if you ride, do you have to look that way? Do I have to be wearing those Oxford leggings that are very figure hugging, or can I just wear something that I'm going to be comfortable in and not care? So yeah, I think that is really important to ditch and know that it is about yourself and not about how other people are seeing you. But I know that's a complicated, long journey.
It's a tough one, because when I noticed that on my social media, I portray a lot of fashion, which makes me seem very perfectionized. It's not even a word, but it is now. But then on the other hand of it, other side of it, I love my hair being up, whatever I'm doing. I do like my makeup. I always find that with my makeup and skincare, if I don't wear it, somehow my skin breaks out, and I don't understand why it works the other way around. But I went all of like beginning of quarantine, the first one, with no makeup, and I was like, why is my skin worse than it's ever been? But I always found it's like a barrier between the elements for me. Yeah. And I was like, who cares? Like, why is this everyone else's opinion? And it's not because I want to look nice all the time, but this is the gear I bought. This is what I want to do. Yeah. And it's finding the ability to explore the grey area that's been unexplored. Like, be a girl that looks nice and dresses how she wants to dress. Monday, I want to look like I'm homeless. Tuesday, I want to look like I'm going to a wedding. Wednesday, I want to look like I've not slept in 3 days. Let me be. And stop the judgment and the expectation and the leading questions when they're like, oh, how's your do you know what fairing is? Do you know what this is? Do you know where your oil goes? And it's like, trust me, if you give me my space to learn, I will learn. So I have a question that I kind of wanted to flow into. As I probably mentioned earlier, you're looking to start a business in the biking world, also with plant-based food. And it's really lovely to see that other women are wanting to make this a career. And to me, the two are just so like food and bikes. Like, I don't know how that works. So I wanted to know more about that from your perspective.
Yeah, so firstly, I have a little bit of history in business. I did a business competition when I was in university. So I did that for 2 years, and as soon as I entered it, I loved that whole business world. But now I'm in teaching because I wanted to get some experience in schools with the idea of starting an emotional intelligence business.
One question: how do kids feel when you roll up on your bike?
They absolutely love it when they find out I ride a motorbike, and then they love it even more when they see what bike it is, because I only live about 15-minute walk from my school, so I never ride the bike to school. But I do show them pictures, and yeah, they do absolutely love it. And they're very funny because sometimes they'll be like, oh, miss, did you ride your ped today? And I just look at them like, a ped? You think I ride a ped? Please, this is a bike. I am a biker. And then I show them a picture and they're like, whoa, that's huge, miss.
It is a big bike.
Yeah, it is a big bike.
It's a big bike, Daisy.
Yeah, I pretty much only work out so that I can handle my bike, not for image.
A big bike,
not
Daisy.
for health.
I look at my bike and I was saying earlier, I struggle to maneuver my Yamaha around, and then you're there like, I have a big bike.
And I can pick it up.
What?
Yes, I can pick up my bike. I dropped it once when I was on a little ride round where I live, round the South Downs, and I dropped it at the top of a junction. It was a little bit too slanted for me, so I dropped it and I just looked at it and went, I'm just going to have to do it. So I like twisted it the way that I tried to remember they showed me 6 years ago when I learned. And so you have to twist the wheel so it kind of locks in that place, and then put your back to it and lift it up. And I was so excited when I lifted it up and so gutted that no one was around to see it. I almost wanted to drop it again in front of people just so people could see me pick it up. I felt very proud of myself.
So definitely you can lift me up. Yeah. I was actually going to say to you, one day we're going to have to do like a bike swap. We're going to have to figure something out. Yeah. And because I can't even get my leg over yours without like a little bit of a hop, skip and a jump.
Yeah.
And I don't know, are you taller than me or same height?
Like 5'3" and a bit.
Okay,
5'4"?
I'm taller than you because
Yeah.
I'm 5'6".
It's just a
5'6",
skill.
5'7".
You learn it. You adapt. I think that's the thing. It's about being adaptable riding a motorbike.
You're just flawless on it. But
Yeah.
sorry, I cut into your,
Yeah.
your business journey.
So then once lockdown hit, that was actually a really nice opportunity for me to take some time, as I'm sure it was for so many people,
Yeah.
to really just have that downtime to think about what you wanted from life. And so I did start having more of a think and have come up with this idea, which was amazing because, again, like I said, I really love that business idea. But I thought, how do you ever come up with a niche? Like, that just seems so alien to me, to be able to think of something that hasn't been thought of before. And it's not that what I'm thinking of hasn't been thought of before, but it hasn't been combined in the way that I want to do it.
Hasn't been executed in the way that's reciprocated to you.
Yeah. So I really love cooking. I've always loved cooking. It's been a really big part of my family life. I've got an Italian uncle, and me and my dad used to play not necessarily a game, but when he would cook food, I would taste it and see what spices were in it and try and guess all of the spices that he'd put into this dish. And I absolutely love that game. I use smell when I'm cooking. It's a really mindful thing to me.
Me too. That's a strange one.
Yeah, and not a lot of people do.
It's I don't know if it's an Indian thing, but I sniff things and figure out what's missing.
I can smell.
Never met anyone that does that.
Right, so my best friend's dad does this as well, and he was the first person that I'd met who also does this. He said he smells his food to tell when it's done, and I was like, yes, that's 100%.
Needs salt.
How does no one else do this?
I can tell a lot more through my nose than I can through my mouth.
Right.
It's really weird.
Yeah, always smelling my food.
Really weird line.
So
never thought to say that ever.
So I absolutely love cooking. I love baking, and I'm vegan. So I've learnt to be very adaptable and creative in the kitchen. Also, one of my favourite things to do is just look in a cupboard and try and piece together a meal. So I think that's something I'm really good at. Rather than planning and buying the ingredients, I'm very much like, I've got chopped tomatoes, I've got that, or put something together and it turning out really lovely. And I really love biking. I want the biking community to be more inclusive and to have more women feeling confident and people from the LGBTQ community feeling more included and feeling more welcome. So that's a really big part of what I love. So I just want to combine the two. So I want to do, the easiest way to explain it is like the hairy bikers but young female and vegan.
I was thinking Martha Stewart on a bike.
Yeah, something like that.
I could just see you on the cover of a book with like a tray and I don't know, a bike. I don't know why that's come into my head.
So I want to do lots of riding round different places, whether that's in the UK or whether that's in different countries, probably a series in different places, and either find local, probably a mixture actually, of finding both local food that is vegan or local cafes and things that where you can go if you are vegan, where they're going to have food for you, but also finding their traditional dishes and turning them vegan. So they're traditional either pastries or just kind of curries, that kind of food, and
because
making vegan
options. Because I found
options.
a partner and I don't worry now about gaining a lot of weight. I think that, like you said earlier, that's so pre-COVID.
So pre-lockdown, caring about your size.
So pre-lockdown. We are going to come with you now on this trip.
Yeah, 100%.
We can eat all the food.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm totally down for that.
I'm going to need people to eat it.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm happy to taste test.
Yeah.
I will put myself on the line. I'm totally going to be your guinea pig.
Yeah. So essentially the business, if you've got a big Venn diagram and put vegan food in one and biking in the other, I'm in that little section in the middle where you have...
It's going to be fascinating to see how you gel that together.
So it is a niche, but I think people will love it. And I want it to be really inspirational. I want people to feel more confident in their vegan cooking or in trying something that isn't based around meat. For me, it's not about getting people to turn vegan, but just try a dish that has a few more vegetables in it, or try something with lentils rather than sticking chicken in there, and trying tofu in different ways. A lot of people I know don't like tofu, and I ask them, well, how have you had it done? And they're like, I don't know. I didn't know there was more than one kind. Right, well, that's where you've gone wrong here, because there are so many different kinds and so many different ways to cook it.
There's been a lot of judgment on such a small test of the market in their mind, and they've just been like, because that was I'm not plant-based or vegan, But my best friend is, so obviously I've tried a lot in that world. And when he introduced me to stuff, I was like, oh, this is so tasty.
Yes.
There's a place that my mouth's watering right now as I'm speaking. It has this teriyaki chicken. It's called King Cook Daily. And I, like, even my partner, he's the furthest thing from vegan you'll ever meet. But literally ever meet. Keyword. But he's like, oh, you do know I work near Shoreditch at the moment. I can go get the teriyaki. I said, they closed down.
Oh, no.
And I said to my best friend, like, he really wants that teriyaki chicken. Like, I do too. I could eat literally tubs of it. And
So it was fake chicken.
yeah,
Nice.
but I don't know how it was made.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
texture was similar. The taste was gorgeous. And that was just such a good takeaway to have. And I mean, he cooked it. The guy obviously cooked it there. And I was just like,
Yeah.
my mouth's really watering.
Well, I think people steer away from it because when they've had dishes, it's the meat that gets marinated and the meat that gets flavoured and not the vegetables. So, you know, very typical kind of British food. You've got your boiled carrots or boiled broccoli. And I remember roasting broccoli for my partner. It was the first time he'd had broccoli cooked in that way. And he was like, I never realised how delicious broccoli could be. And because it's just, you know, why not spice your veg? Why not put cumin on your cauliflower and then put some oil and salt and put it in the oven? That makes it taste amazing. Or
Recipes by Daisy.
yeah, exactly.
Small little people are there now, got all their cauliflower at the fridge.
Yeah.
They're just, yes, down for it.
Yeah, I think people understand the versatility of cauliflower now. It's been turned into just about everything. Pizza bases, steaks, hilariously.
It's a whole new world. And
Yeah.
to understand that, I think diversifying the bike world in such a way that it is a vehicle, people. It's a vehicle that you drive and you ride. It's not that deep.
Yeah.
Anyone should be allowed to be a biker. There should be no limits. I mean, we were on our way here and we saw a guy who's in a wheelchair in some form of a bike.
Amazing.
And we were like, oh, what's that? We've never seen that. And my partner was like, it's because he's in a wheelchair. And I was like, amazing. He's not let it limit him because of his age, his gender, his anything. Because he's a foodie. So how do you mesh the two? No, literally, it's my vehicle. That's just the choice of vehicle I have because I enjoy it. You buy a car because you enjoy it or you need it or whatever you're doing it for, because a lot of people get bikes to commute. It's a lot easier in London.
Yeah, but I think that's what we need to do with the biker community.
Yeah.
We need to make people realise that you don't have to fit into that biker stereotype for you to become a biker, and actually just give it a go and you'll realise how you can make it your own. It doesn't have to be like buying a Harley makes you that kind of biker, although I did talk about that earlier.
I think that it is like you do gravitate towards certain things and you can build a community off it. So I've built a massive like great friendships with women that I've met that are in super bikes because they've gone through something similar to me. Our experiences are similar, and it's very interesting that I've crossed that with certain women, and even me and you. I can't believe after how many years how much we've suddenly got like, still in common from you know, primary school to now. That's a massive gap. We were not friends when we were teenagers.
I know.
As in we weren't with nothing against each other, we just never were around. And then to be in our 20s now and just realize, oh my god, we have so much in common. But
I love that it's the bikes that have brought us together, especially
so
as I'm like venturing deeper into the biker world. And
me too. And I'm like, I'm trying to make a career out of this line of work, and I'm like, okay, why am I doing this? It just feels like a calling. I feel like it's a niche that speaks to me that I've needed clarity on, and that's why I went towards the podcast, because I said I always needed advice. I want to create a platform where the people I've learnt from, I've watched, I've seen, I would love to have heard from going through that. I want to present that not from a Chinese whispered perspective where I'm feeding the information out. Why can't I just bring on the people that I've learnt from, I've gelled with, I've seen develop, and share that with the world? Because there are some amazing men, women, very seasoned people, and their personalities are so seasoned because they've gone and done something against the norm. And I love that. I think every biker, whether they're male, female, LGBTQ, whatever they are, I don't know all the synonyms, whatever they are, color, skin, whatever, it doesn't matter. We all have something in common. We've chosen something that's against the norm.
Yeah.
Whether we like it or not, the norm is not biking.
It's a little bit rebellious.
Yeah.
It's a little bit independent, you know. You
Yeah.
can't take, I mean, you can take one person on the back.
You don't have an
but
instructor on the back. You don't, you know, you don't go, there is no one that goes through that journey with you.
Yeah.
That sat next to you or anything, even if they are pillion or whatever. You're so responsible for your life. You don't have someone next to you when you're doing your CBT or your mod 1 or your mod 2. You don't have someone who's in control of that bike for you at any point.
That is very scary.
And there's that level of, I am so responsible for myself. And if you've got someone on the back, you're so responsible for them.
Yeah.
And there's nothing like that.
But I think that's why we want to make the biker community kinder and more welcoming, because when you are going through that, you want some cheerleaders to the side saying, come and join us, like keep going. And you might fall off, but
and they
who
don't
cares?
segregate you. So I found that a lot of, when I first started this journey, I was with a group and they told me, don't mix with this, don't mix with them, don't mix with this. And I did think they were trying to protect me to a degree, but then I felt so alienated and scared of who to reach out to, where I just want to do it like I pick my friends. People I gel with, people I don't. I just want it to be easier. And I don't know if I've slated a lot of things in this one. This is my friend from primary school, guys. I'm going to speak how I'm going to speak. I don't want to filter it. I just want to keep it real. If my mind changes in the next session, it does. There's a lot of things I'm learning as I'm going through. And I just want to be in a position where I'm sharing that with people, where they can feel at ease, feel accepted for their outlook. If your outlook is a certain way, as a group, as a team, it's our responsibility to broaden that if we don't see it right. Our responsibility to not fight with people because they're dressed up on a bike. If you're interested in knowing why someone's wearing makeup under a helmet, if that's your business in your mind, then communicate with them nicely. If you don't like to see certain people on bikes, you don't like to see it, take yourself away.
Yeah.
If you want to add something to it, just like a recipe, add to it. Just enjoy the world that we're in and expand it. I think that keep going back to expanding it, because
come and join us.
To see, I mean, I don't know if it was in our primary school, they were like, who's your role model? And I always used to say my mum, and people would be like, oh, so cute. And it wasn't because, oh, so cute, it was because there wasn't any other brown person in media, there wasn't any other brown people around us. Cambridge is very I think it's very white. Definitely. When we were growing up.
I mean, the school itself had a big Bangladeshi community.
Yeah, I didn't fit in that because I wasn't Bangladeshi.
No, exactly.
And then I felt like, the only role model I do know is mum. No pop stars, no singers, no even bikers. I found a biker girl in India the other day, and I was like, oh my God, she's got nearly 500,000 followers and she's Indian. Yes, go. I resonated with it so much because I felt if I could provide myself a role model, it would be in everything that they want to be, normalizing that we're just everywhere. Be whatever you want to be as many different types of people as you can, and develop from that. Stop segregating it where you only see what is mainstream acceptable. Men on bikes, women riders get paid less in the industry, or this, that and the other, or just stop with all that drama and just enjoy talent for what it is, enjoy passion for what it is.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think definitely normalizing it, but also I think there's a lot of encouragement to go on as well. It's not just about me being on a bike and people seeing me on a bike.
The women's group that we are in is really, really supportive.
Yeah, very.
I mean, there is another biker group which is mixed, which is really supportive. There are a bit sneaky comments in there, but the female group's amazing because there's so many people that I'm going to go do my CBT. I feel like I'm just going to walk out. And I loved seeing that because I remember when I went on my own, walked down the road, had my helmet in hand, guys catcalling on the way there, got there, felt stupid, felt awkward, felt uncomfortable. It's sad that they feel like that because you shouldn't. But it's also nice that they feel that they've got a platform to vent that on.
Definitely.
And all of us girls, I even felt I'm not someone that majorly comments back on things, but I'm like, go in there and show them. It doesn't matter if whatever happens, it doesn't matter. You've done it. And just be happy that you've done it, whether you have to complete it another day or not. just do the process. And it feels so good to see how many girls, they're showing off their 125s. They're just on their proud.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love seeing that. And men are even just saying, you know, well done, you've done it. This is advice. And you just think, yeah, this is a community.
Definitely. It's getting there. It's not like it's not there. I think it has some way to go before it's where we want it to be.
I have a question that I wanted to ask you. So what's the craziest thing you've ever done in your biking career? I'm going to call it your career at this point.
In terms of
anything, what comes to your mind?
Oh, I guess probably doing a trip with a boyfriend on the back, going camping.
Why was that the craziest for you?
Because it was all of the gear. I think a lot of women are quite intimidated by the idea of having a pillion on the back of a bike, because it does make it significantly heavier. Whereas I had a pillion and 2 panniers full of camping gear and a big duffel bag full of camping gear on the back as well. And then I think Andy was wearing a backpack too. So it was a lot. It made the bike probably twice as heavy. It was a lot of things on there. And then to commit to a week of going around somewhere where you know it's going to be raining, you're going to be camping, you have to find food everywhere and you're cooking your own stuff. But at the same time, it's one of the most freeing experiences.
Now you've said it, I don't know if you've sold me on it again.
Yeah.
Teetering back and forth with the thought
of
it.
Go for the hotel.
Right, Sally, you stay in the Marriott.
I'll camp in the garden.
Yeah, you'll be in the back garden. It's fine. Okay, and what's the scariest position you've ever been in?
On the bike?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean with cars or
with anything? Like that one's an interesting one for me because
okay. Actually, one experience does come to mind where it was part of the island trip and we'd gone to the pub and the journey there had been really beautiful. It was all these back roads and then it had become pitch black and there were no street lights, and it was one of those scenes where you expect a murderer to jump out of a bush at you. And so, yeah, I had a drunk partner on the back, me on the bike, not knowing where I was going, because I don't use a sat-nav. So I memorise my routes and occasionally stop to double check that I'm going in the right direction if I feel like... Yeah, I use map. Or I use Google Maps too. Okay. But
you're not completely pulling out the...
No.
But
we did have that for Ireland, to be fair.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so... But often I use Google Maps, look at the route, kind of roughly know how long it's going to be and where I could stop along the way, and then just remember, okay, well, I'm doing that route, and then A40, A406, that was to here, and then just the first junction, then I got hella confused because it didn't look... You have to remember, it doesn't look anything like it does.
The more I'm talking to you, the more I feel like a diva, because I've had to... My partner got me a quad lock, so to put on the...
Yes, so I saw those.
So because my sense of direction is so bad, I'm like... looking at the map every few seconds, even if I'm walking, I'm like, turn left, okay, left, okay, keep walking, okay, left, okay, I have to go turn left now. So for you to memorize like old school style, I can't feel oh God, you're an adventurer.
That one was so crazy as well, because the journey, it's not like I was following any routes or any signs. I remember that one was hilarious. It was like one of those games on a TV show. So it was, okay, so I'm going to take the left, and then it's 3 roads and a right, and then 2 roads and a left, and then 2 roads and another left. It was that kind of thing that I was having to remember. And then I hadn't even thought about it on the way back. So on the way back, I had to completely opposite it. And I was so upset that my partner at the time didn't appreciate how incredible that was, that I'd got us back to the campsite without getting lost in this pitch black area.
And it's a campsite, oh my God.
Oh, I was so scared that time, but we got through it. And I mean, obviously that was quite an irrational part of my brain, the idea that someone's going to be waiting there with a knife.
I have a newfound level of trust in you at this point. I think it's a really lovely place to wrap up.
Cool.
Because I'm getting the warning signs to the side of me that I think I could chat to you literally all day.
Yeah.
I'm probably sweating with like excitement and like listening to everything, because
I'll come back again.
Hasn't felt yet. Definitely, I have to. What we're gonna do is, as soon as you've launched, your business, I'm gonna have to have you on and definitely doing those trips.
100%.
And you're definitely leading because my level of trust in you is like through the roof at this point. Daisy will fix everything. Daisy will fix all my problems. Daisy knows how to fix everything. Daisy is the maps at this point.
There we go. That's my slogan.
Type it in all the maps you need. I've really enjoyed. I feel like it's been a great vent session for me. It's been a really good catch-up session. This Daisy from primary school. But,
yeah, it has been super lovely, and I love chatting to other female riders. So if anyone is listening and does want to chat about, or they're thinking about going into riding, I am more than happy to answer loads of questions.
Yeah, you know what? I will make sure I put all your handles and stuff below. So definitely reach out to Daisy personally yourself, because yeah, I think you're super accommodating. You're super accommodating, so you'll totally be there to talk to people, because all I want to do is connect people with people they resonate with. That's my only mission, and learn along the way myself. I've learned now I probably can do way more than I think I can.
Yeah, definitely I'm going to
work on home, memorize maps. I don't even know my way around my own area. Right, I second guess it every single time. I'm like, it's like 3 roads. I'm still confused.
You'll get there. Well, it's been really lovely. Thanks for having me
amazing. On. Yeah, I'm going to do the YouTuber thing. So please like, share, subscribe, and get involved with this conversation, because, you know, I want to explore this so much more. And, you know, join the family, write comments, send us a DM, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one.